We've just witnessed a pretty high stakes replenishment situation where the global fund set out this investment case and called for $14 billion to support its next 3 years of work. Vince, you were there on the ground in Lyon while all of this was happening. Let's start with you. Today is Friday. Yesterday was the big day in terms of making a final push for the full replenishment. Can you set the scene for us? How much question was there as to whether the Global Fund would meet its replenishment target or not? And how were people feeling about it going into Thursday?
Thanks, Michael. Hi, everyone. I think it was interesting. I was following some of the pledges that were coming in during the G7 in France, in Biarritz, in August. And Germany went big and pledged $1 billion. Canada, the UK, everyone was coming in above the 15% increase on the last replenishment. And then I spoke to the Chief of Staff from the Global Fund, Marika Vinrux, on the Wednesday. And I said, this could be a really boring replenishment conference, couldn't it? And she assured me that it would be exciting, and she was right. And I could not have been more wrong. And so what happened was on the Thursday, there was a running sheet for the timing that was expected for the pledges. Emmanuel Macron came out and gave a kind of firebrand speech where he told everyone, you will not, no, I won't let you leave Lyon until we get to the 14 billion, which as Jenny will be able to explain, I think was quite an ambitious target, it's fair to say. And that was the first sign that made me think not everything was right, that not everything was on track. And then there was a session after that where Macron was supposed to appear at a panel discussion, and he went backstage to continue working the phones. And that was one sign that it was going to be quite close. Another sign was Macron's speech itself in the morning. Someone told me, one of the assistants told me that he was supposed to speak for 10 minutes and went for around half an hour. And in that time, he actually called out certain countries by name who had already pledged, or whose pledges were becoming, what they intended to pledge were becoming known, and which he told everyone were not enough. So countries like Japan, my native Australia got a mention, and some of the Gulf states. And when the camera cut to the Japanese delegation, for instance, they were quite stony-faced. And, in diplomatic circles, it's perhaps not done when someone is donating. In Japan's case, it's more than $800 million. And that's what they ended up giving was a 5% increase so far. It's perhaps not done to then say, we want more, please, and please do more, and to make an example of someone in that way. But that was a ploy by Macron, perhaps to put some pressure on countries to come to the table with more. There was an element of cinema and drama in that when Norway then was called a bit later and said, we've just got off the phone with our capital and we will now give more than they had previously said they would, but still not a lot more. And Macron said at the closing press conference he'd still like to see more from them. And some of the delegations didn't take it too well. I spoke to the Saudi delegate who told me that, he understood why Macron might have done that as a politician, but he certainly didn't take it very well, being singled out when Saudi Arabia had decided the night before to give 30 million. And in the closing press conference, Macron contrasted that with Qatar and the UAE, who went up to 50 million. So that was some of the dynamic. And then everyone, Macron